going to show you how to play this 12-bar blues arrangement I've made for you, and this will be part of a series called the 12-bar blues challenge. So this is our first one, and I hope to be making lots more. So let's get started here. What I'm going to do is explain this to you measure by measure, and as we go through it, I'm going to show you the rhythms and just where the notes are located on the neck in detail, so you can really follow along and learn these licks. And a lot of times too, you can just play one measure from this piece and use it as like a drill, and it'll sound pretty cool. So in this first arrangement, what we have here is some notes that go all the way across the fretboard. So we're really exploring everywhere. We also have major minor licks, so it's not just kind of a minor sound or a major sound. There's a nice mix in there, which is super common, and this is in the key of E here. So now getting started with this first measure, we're going to be playing double stops and triplets. It's going to sound like this. Start by putting our first finger on that second fret of the B and second finger third fret on the G, and we're going to strum those two together. That's a double stop, two notes played together at the same time. We're going to pluck those and slide them up one fret like that, and then we're going to strum them two more times. Notice I'm doing all down strums. I like to do that for this style. So we have one triplet, it's a triplet, do the same thing again, two triplet. Now for the last triplet, we're going to get our third finger on the fifth fret of the B string, and we're going to pluck that. First finger, third fret on the B, second finger, fourth fret on the G. You're going to pluck that and quickly slide down to the second fret, and then play the open G. So it's like 3 triplet 4, like that. So the whole thing is 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet 4. This next measure starts with a punch and ends with a punch. It goes like this. So we're going to start with that E5 chord, first finger, second fret in the A. Strum the low E with it, like this. And then we're going to get our third finger on the third fret of the high E string, pluck it, bend up slightly, open high E. So those are all eighth notes, like 1 and 2, and then an open B after that. And then you're going to get your third finger on the third fret of the B, pluck it, bend up slightly, play the open high E, open B. And that's a triplet, so it's like triplet. And then you're going to get your third finger, go to that third fret of the B string, pluck it, slide up to the fifth fret. And you notice when I'm doing that, I'm plucking the open high E as well. So it's a unison slide because you're sliding into an E note, and that same exact E note is being rung out underneath it like that. And then pluck the open high E again. Really gives it a big sound. So the whole thing with rhythm is like this. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 triplet 4 and. Now we're going to play a little shuffle rhythm with a double pull off. Goes like this. So what we have is the E5 chord again. We're going to strum that once down. Then we're going to play the open high E and B string, pluck up, block the sound quickly, so it's pretty quick. Then get your third finger on that fourth fret of the A string, strum that with the low open E, play it twice, that shuffle rhythm, and then slide that third finger up to the fourth fret, play it once. Play the open high E and B again, strumming up quickly. And then what we're going to do is this double pull off where our first finger stays down on the second fret of the G. Our second finger is one fret above it. We're going to pluck that second finger, pull off to the first finger, and then pull off again to the open G. So it's like one pluck, 3 notes. Takes a little bit of practice to get used to. Try doing it without plucking first, and then if you add the pluck, it's a little easier. Then you're going to land with your first finger on the second fret of the D string, which is the E note. So it's really fun lick. So the whole shuffle with that little lick is like this. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm going to show you a little walk up you can throw into your 12-bar blues that goes from the 1 chord to the 4 chord with a little triplet at the end. It goes like this. What we're doing is we're going to get our first finger, quickly hammer on from the open G to the first fret on the G, play the open high E, then your third finger can go on the third fret of the B string, pluck it, bend up slightly, play the open high E, and then you're going to get your first finger, play the E5 chord twice, and then you're going to walk up quickly with a triplet with your first finger on the second fret of the low E, second finger, third fret in the low E, third finger, fourth fret in the low E. And then you can finish that with an A5 chord. So it's like this with rhythm: 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 triplet. And this next measure is on the 4 chord in the 12-bar blues in the key of E, so it means it's played over the A chord. We're going to start with an A5. Goes like this. So you can see we're kind of going up the neck. We'll start with an A5, first finger, second fret. On the D string, we're going to play the open A, strum that once, slide with your second finger to the second fret to the 6th fret, and then first finger, 5th fret on the B, third finger, 8th fret on the B, slide back 1 fret, first finger, 5th fret on the B, second finger, 6th fret on the G. Then you're going to get your third finger, slide from the 7th to the 10th fret on the B like this, and let that vibrato happen by kind of pushing the string forward and back. You don't have to, but that's the idea. So the whole thing is like this: 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 triplet 4. This next lick is played over the 4 chord in the key of E, so that would be the A. So what we're going to do is start by plucking the A note and then sliding into a double stop at the 10th fret like this. Start by plucking that A note, and then we're going to slide into this double stop, first finger on the 10th fret of the high E string, third finger, 12th fret on the B. What we're going to do is slide in from a fret below, like this, quickly. Then we're going to strum down twice on that with a triplet rhythm. And then we're going to get our third finger, flatten it on the 12th fret of the high E. First finger, 10th fret on the high E, third finger, 12th fret on the B. First finger, 10th fret on the B, and then third finger, we're going to kind of slightly bend on the 12th fret of the G, so it's like, start with a triplet, end with 8th notes. So the whole thing's like this: 4 and 1 and 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 and. This next lick has the low E note ringing through it while you play a higher lick at the 7th fret, and then you're going to go back down into a slide from 3 to 5. Goes like this. That low E string ringing out, then you're going to get your third finger, 9th fret on the high E, go back 2 frets with your first finger, and then you're going to get your second finger on the 8th fret of the B string, pluck it, bend up slightly, you're going to play the open high E, open B, then get your third finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, pluck it, slide up quickly to the 5th fret, then play the open high E, and then open B. That's a little triplet at the end. So the whole thing with rhythms like this: 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 triplet. This next lick uses a tritone, which can add a lot of dissonance and tension to your blues phrases. Goes like this. We're going to start by strumming that E5 chord once. Then we're going to strum the open B and high E string. Then we're going to play this tritone with our second finger on the 2nd fret of the B string and our third finger on the 3rd fret of the high E. And you're going to strum those two together. And you can push up on both of those strings a little bit to get a little bit of a bending sound. And then you can play the open high B and E. Go back to that tritone, do the same thing. And then play the open high B and E again twice. So with rhythm it's like this: 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're going to play a lick over this B7 chord, which can act as the 5 chord in the 12-bar blues in the key of E. The lick goes like this. So we're going to start with that B7 chord with your first finger on the 1st fret of the D string, second finger, 2nd fret on the A, third finger, 2nd fret on the G. You can just strum those 3 strings if you'd like, 2 times. Then you're going to get your second finger and slide from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret on the B string. Then your first finger will go on the 2nd fret of the high E, third finger back to the 4th fret on the B. Then you're going to roll your third finger over to the 4th fret on the high E, pluck that, and quickly slide up 1 fret. And go back down 1 fret, pluck it, then first finger, 2nd fret on the high E. So with rhythm it's like this: 4 and 1 and 2 triplet, 3 and 4 and. This next blues lick is played over the A5 chord. It has a double pull off in it and a double stop 6 slide. Goes like this. So we're going to start with that A5 chord, first finger, second fret on the D string with that open A. Strum that once. Play the open high E. Put your second finger on the third fret of the high E. You're going to pluck that and then pull off to your first finger on the second fret of the high E. And then pull that off to the open high E. So one pluck, 3 notes. And then you're going to play the open B, open high E, open B, open high E. Then you're going to put your second finger on the 7th fret of the G string and your third finger on the 7th fret of the high E. And you're going to block the B string with your second finger, just kind of making light contact with it. You can strum this. That's a double stop. What we're going to do is strum that and quickly slide into the 9th fret, like that. So the whole thing with rhythms like this: 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 triplet 4. This next measure is a great way to practice moving from the high frets to the low frets when playing the blues. It goes like this. So we're going to start with our third finger on that 9th fret of the high E string. Pluck it, quickly slide up to the 12th fret. And then we're going to go back with our first finger on that 9th fret of the high E, open high E, and move your hand all the way down with your first finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, open D, and then your second finger on the 3rd fret of the low E, and then you're going to bend that slightly, just pulling it down a little, and then your first finger back to that 2nd fret on the D, and then the low open E. So with rhythm it's like this: 1 triplet, 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 triplet, 2 and 3 and 4. Here's the final turnaround lick in this first 12-bar blues arrangement. It has a bunch of triplets in it. It goes like this. We're going to start by quickly hammering down with our first finger on the 1st fret of the G string, like this. Keep that first finger down, pluck the open high E, go back to that G string, pluck that first finger on the 1st fret of the G there, let them ring out. Then you're going to get your second finger, put it on the 2nd fret of the G, pluck the high E, go back to the 2nd fret of the G with your second finger. Notice I'm keeping that second finger down. Now just slide that second finger up 1 fret, do the same thing again. And then you're going to drop your third finger underneath the 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string and strum those 2 strings and quickly slide both of those notes up 1 fret like this. It's kind of like a piece of a triad there, the B triad you're sliding into. So the whole thing with rhythm is a bunch of triplets like this: 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet.